Welcome back! Welcome back to the channel, lads. So today we've got r/adulting, and we're going to go through and have a look at what we've got to look forward to further into our adult life. So if you enjoy this, smash that like button, drop a comment, and we will do more of these in future. Let's get into it. Alrighty. I work hard. No evictions, no kids. We're off to a great start here, and still can't afford rent. How are people surviving? I've lived in West Palm Beach since I was 5. Went to school here, earned my degree, been on my own since I was 19. I'm 32 now, and for the first time in my life, I can't afford rent. I've been living in a 2x2 for the past 3 years. It started at $1,200 and went up to $1,500. I gladly paid the increases. I knew that was a good price compared to what's out there now, but now they're refusing to renew my lease, not because I did anything wrong, but because they want to kick me out and to rent to someone new for $2,000 a month, plus charge them a move-in fee of 3 times the rent. That is absolute insanity. What greedy bastard is going to charge someone $6,000 up front just to move into a 2x2? Oh, that's so disgusting. I'm hiccuping at the thought of it. Damn. Maybe the world's worse than I thought. I have no evictions. I've never missed a payment. I work full time. I don't have kids by choice. I didn't want to raise a child in financial struggle, and I'm still being priced out of my own city. I have a 12-year-old senior dog. I just can't rent a room for $1,000+ and ditch her. I won't, and I just can't. And I can't just up and leave either. My mum is elderly, and I need to be close. All right. I'm not going to be too harsh in my assessment here, because it sounds like this guy is trying to look after his mum and XYZ. I feel like I did everything right, and I'm still being punished. This is disgusting. What are people even doing right now? How is anyone supposed to live like this? If you know, looking for rentals, etc. I'm exhausted and honestly scared. I personally like to stay away from the news, stay away from politics, etc. It's not something I've ever looked into, and every time I do look into it, you're just met with a bunch of absolute negativity from opposing political parties. When it comes to living, when it comes to, I know this post doesn't specifically go into politics, but a lot of people would argue that housing prices, etc., is directly tied into who's in charge at the moment, what's the political scene, what's everyone doing to try and win over other candidates. And this is my take. My take is, when you're a younger person, obviously this person is 32 and now they're in a situation, but if you're watching this and you're 20, you're 18, you're 16, you're 22, start doing things now to set yourself up so that no matter who's in power, no matter what the housing market does, no matter what happens in XYZ years from now, that when this happens in your life, and undoubtedly it will, it won't be a problem for you, because you've already set yourself up outside of these systems. It doesn't matter to you if Trump's the president. It doesn't matter to you if Joe Biden's the president, because you have set yourself up in a way where you don't have a job which you're using to pay the bills week in, week out. You don't just have an extra like $10 a week after you've structured your rent and stuff. And I don't want to sound like a dick when I'm saying this, but what I'm realizing more and more is that you have to do these things when you're 20. You have to do these things before you accidentally have a child or intentionally have a child, and before you start tying yourself down with all these different things. You have to essentially wake up and click in when you're young, or you will pay for it for the rest of your life. I've seen that in all the adults around when I was growing up. Everybody's struggling. They were struggling 5 years ago, they're struggling even more now, because, and again, I don't want to sound like some young dickhead who thinks he knows everything, but the harder I work, the more I understand this, is you have to set yourself up. You have to be responsible for yourself. You cannot leave it up to some government. You cannot leave it up to whatever the housing market's going to do. You have to find a way to create a surplus when you're young. And the only reason I'm saying this so strongly is because I know how possible it is and how easy it is if you actually just put the work in. If you decide, instead of going out to parties, instead of doing XYZ, you are going to actually work, you're not going to waste away these young years, you'd be surprised at how easy it is. I say easy It takes a lot of effort and hard work because you're choosing to stay away from these fun things. But then when you're 30, if you've got plenty of cash in the bank, you've got investments bringing money in, the rest of your life is made so much easier, so you don't have to come to Reddit when you're 32 and go, I'm fucked. I need some serious help here. So that's my take. My take is, again, I don't want to sound like an idiot, but I have to say that wherever this person has ended up, ultimately, it is their fault. Sometimes horrible accidents can happen, but once I started adopting the philosophy in my life that whatever happens, even if it feels like it's out of my control, it is my fault and I will take full responsibility. Even if it's not completely your fault, it becomes much easier to deal with it if you tell yourself, I'm going to be fully responsible for this. As soon as I started doing that in my life changed for the better completely. So that's my take. I want to dig in and I really want to see what other people are saying in response to this. I feel like we could get some interesting answers here. I want to see if I really am the dickhead minority here, or if other people tend to share the same view. Careless Feedback 9579. I think a lot of people have been feeling the I did everything right, why am I being punished thing lately, myself included. I did everything right is a very, very interesting saying, because what is right? Where do you get the right from? Do you get it from what they tell you should be doing in school? Do you get the I did everything right from you should get a job, you should buy a house when you're young, you should get married and have kids, you should push all your effort into progressing your career? Is that what you're calling right? That's what I think is really important here, is when people say I did everything right, what are they actually referring to? Because if that is what they're referring to, then that is just what you've been fed. That does not necessarily make it right, especially if you're here at 30 feeling like your life's over and you've been backed into a corner. Everything right. It is no secret that not everyone can be rich. If everyone was rich, no one could be rich. If everyone was making 100 grand a month, people would be pricing bottled water in a supermarket at $100 a bottle. That's just how basic economics work. But doing everything right does not necessarily mean just doing what you're fed in school. If you just do what you're fed in school, you are bound to be locked into a life of slavery, because that's the way the system works. If everybody's locked into the system, there's always workers, there's always people that need money, and it keeps the world ticking around. So again, not everyone can be free of that, but if you lock in when you're young and you understand that this is actually the way the world works, you have a chance of getting out of that trap. Golden_Pinky. I live in fear every single day. This is going to happen to me next because I'm truly living on the edge. Housing needs reform. It should not be this hard to simply house yourself. It should be illegal for people to get filthy rich off of housing. I completely disagree with that. It needs to be possible for people to get filthy rich off anything that benefits people in life. It was not my intention to come into this episode and turn it into some political rant. And this is not intended to be political in any way, shape or form. This is just me stating what my understanding of the way the world actually works is as a young 20-year-old. I might in 5 years' time turn around and say, what was I thinking? I was completely wrong. But for right now, this is my understanding of the way the world works, and this is where I think people are going wrong. It should absolutely be legal for people to get filthy rich off of housing. You see it all the time, people saying Elon Musk should not have all this money, Jeff Bezos should not have all this money. And the question then becomes why? Why should they not have all that money? What did they do to get that money? They built successful companies. Amazon. If you think of the amount of good that Amazon has done in the world, the amount of employees it has, the amount of people that use Amazon, if you ask someone, okay, you don't like Jeff Bezos, you don't want him to be filthy rich, you don't think that's right, you think he should be taxed to high heaven, and you don't think he should have all his money. If this is what you think, then would you not use Amazon? Would you not use any service provided to you by a billionaire? If the answer is no, and you would still use those services, someone has to get rich off it. No one is going to dedicate their life to building this service. Like if you think of when Elon Musk started his first company, this is an obsession. It's a lifetime pursuit. He didn't just wake up one day and accidentally sell a company for hundreds of billions of dollars. That's not how it works. He's dedicated his life to doing this, and in doing that has provided lots of services to lots and lots of people. If he's not going to get rich off doing that, if he's not going to get rich off creating value for other people, who's going to do it? No one. No one's going to have good things because no one's going to pay for it because no one's going to profit off of it. People have to be able to get filthy rich. If you cannot get rich in the world, what's the point to doing anything? There's no economy if people can't get rich. So the same thing goes for housing. Not everyone who's rich off housing has earned it, if you like. Not everyone in this world is going to earn a place in this world. But if no one can get rich off housing, who's going to supply the houses? Who's going to build the houses? It's just a it's a stupid comment to make. Because all it's saying to me is I assume this person is someone who goes, okay, I can't afford a house. I want someone to give me a house. I'm not going to do what I need to do to be able to afford one or to be able to afford the things that I want to do. This person could have tried to create Amazon, but they didn't. And I think that's all we need to think about that. I want to find something a bit more positive in here because now I'm just getting a little bit annoyed at the what I believe to be a lack of perception from these people. Sanity, Janity, this sucks, and you've already found the issues. You have a dog, and you have a need to stay in a particular location. It's not your fault, it's literally a lack of supply. Now, even if I'm wrong about everything I've said, if everything I said was just the ramblings of a 22-year-old with too much testosterone in their body and not enough life experience, here's something which I know is not wrong. If you take up the mindset of if it is not your fault what happens, that is going to be a problem. If it is completely unreasonable what the current housing market is, you have nothing to gain by saying it's not my fault, there's nothing I can do by it, because then you'll be homeless. Even if I'm wrong about the way this works, even if it is impossible for people to buy a house, you believing that it's impossible and you not even going to step up to the challenge to try and make something for yourself, that's a massive problem, and that is your fault. It's irrelevant whether or not it is unreasonable now to buy a house. It does not make a difference. I don't think it is, but if it is completely unreasonable, you have nothing to gain by saying, this is ridiculous, I'm giving up. Then you've got no chance of success. Bohidamatus Wall. I'm 37 and I bought a 1,200 square foot duplex for $120,000 in 2016. I paid it off in a hurry because I kept thinking the economy would crash. Well, I never thought the economy would crash. The stock market would go up along with the rent. The price of housing, groceries, and business would just go on as usual, and no one would bat an eye. I afford to live because I was born 5 years before you, and that's the honest answer for anyone else other than they have wealthy family members or good connections. The more I read, it's just frustrating because every answer in here is saying it's not your fault. The circumstances surrounding it, there's probably nothing you can control. The housing market is not something you directly can control, but everybody in this Reddit seems to be taking on the mindset of it's not your fault, there's nothing you can do about it, we can all feel sad, and we don't even need to step up to the challenge. Even this person who admitted to have some success for buying the duplex in 2016, they've said, oh, I just got lucky at the time. Maybe they did, but what do you have to gain by taking up the mindset of it's just luck, there's nothing you can do about it, you're screwed now. If you don't have a wealthy family, you can't achieve anything. Because here's the thing about getting rich, and this is so true. You see a lot in the media. You see every drug dealer that gets caught. You see all these people that get busted for fraud. You see all these people that do the wrong thing to get rich and they get caught, and you start to build up this false perception that the only way to get rich is to scam, is to lie, is to cheat, but that's not true. The secret to getting rich and the secret to building a business is creating values, to put value out into the world. If you put that value out into the world, it will be reciprocated. If you put negativity out into the world, it will be reciprocated. Whatever you put out, you will attract. So again, going back to us saying about the billionaires, they didn't get rich off scamming people. They got rich because they created a product or they created a service that people want and that will help people in their everyday life. It's an exchange of value. You create an electric car, People go, I want an electric car. That's going to add to my life because save the planet, global warming, whatever. The point is you've created value. Amazon, someone wants to order a book. Boom, you've created value for them. You give them value, they give you something in return in the form of often monetary compensation. People take the mindset, not responsibility. People who are rich are either evil or are trust fund babies. Again, completely incorrect. People don't get rich like that. The vast majority of people get rich because they put value out into the world, they put hard work out, that's reciprocated, and they get rewarded for it. Now, this video is probably getting on a bit, but I really just want to find one comment in this Reddit which agrees with me, or which tells these people just to pull up their pants. So it might be here a while, but that's all I want to find before I finish this video. Throwaway only here. You are absolutely right to feel exhausted and angry. You've done everything society told you to do. Bang, there's a problem. You've done everything society told you to do. Stop taking what society tells you to do as the good thing, as the right thing. Anytime you're going to take advice from someone, anytime you're going to do what someone's telling you to do, stop, look at that person and say, okay, would I trade places with them? Do they have what I want to have? If the answer is no, disregard it. If you want to take your advice from society, if you want to do everything that society tells you to do, then rest assured, for better or worse, you will end up where society is. If society is struggling to pay their bills and you want to do what society tells you to do, lo and behold, 100% chance you will end up struggling to pay your bills. Look for the people who have what you want to have. If you make a character assessment on them and you say, okay, they're not just a course seller, they didn't get rich off of selling their method to people, if that's really important. Do not go to people who got rich off just selling their method to people. That's dangerous. If you find an entrepreneur, if you find someone that inspires you, which has the receipts to prove they do know what they're talking about, take advice from them. Don't just go outside your front door and take advice from society. You can do that, but you will end up exactly where everyone else is in society. So if you like the sound of that, be my guest, go for it. If that sounds miserable to you, turn off your ears to that. Turn off the TV. Don't listen to the news. Don't listen to what the woke mob is telling you to do. Don't listen to what people are telling you to do in terms of careers. Do not take advice from people you do not want to be like. I can't go any further into this. It's just full of negativity and people avoiding responsibility. But this is my bottom line. This is my takeaway. Everything I've said here has been something for this guy to do 10 years ago. That's great if you're a 20-year-old now. I hope you take that seriously and you understand what I'm trying to say to you, because my life changed when I actually started implementing that sort of responsibility, even if I felt like it wasn't my fault. But if you're in the situation now where you're 32, you're struggling to pay the rent, you only have one option. You have to do now what you should have done in your 20s. You have to pull up your big boy pants and say, okay, now it is my fault. Now I'm going to give myself no chance of failure. Now I'm going to find a way. And then that's when you start working your full-time job and you come home and straight away you jump into your side hustle, you're researching, you're trying to find people to learn from. You have to at some point do the hard work. It is so much better if you can do the hard work when you're 20, when you don't have all this other responsibility around you and when you're not fully plugged into the matrix or whatever you want to use to describe the greater world. But if you end up in this situation, the only way to get out is just to do the hard work. It's a pretty unforgiving way to say it, but it's so true. No one's going to baby you, especially not if you're a 32-year-old struggling to pay the bill. There's no handouts for you there. You have to pull up your pants and find a way to do it yourself. So, if anything, boys, I just hope you got some value out of this, out of my little rants here on this post. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Let's get it.